And welcome back. We are here with a man who is helping provide entrepreneurial opportunity in the growing food truck industry. Mr. Paul Somerhausen, owner, director of Sacto Mofo. How you doing today, Paul?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thanks for coming on the show and talk to us about your business. What is Sacto Mofo?
We're basically an event production company and a food truck brokerage company. So we provide opportunities for food trucks to be successful. The hardest part of a food truck entrepreneur is to find opportunities once they start their truck and they get the road. It's difficult. The laws haven't caught up with the phenomena that are food trucks. So we try to find ways to where there's legal, safe, and profitable opportunities for food trucks to be able to be successful.
Now, how did you come up with the name?
A little closer to the mic.
Yeah, a little closer to the mic there. Thank you. How did you come up with the name Sacto Mofo? That sounds a little edgy, Paul. Come on.
Well, food trucks by design are edgy, so we wanted to come up with a name that would be memorable and that would be that would get a reaction from people. I think that's also key to the industry. That food trucks, you have to stand out, you have to be different, you have to look unique, and I think the branding matches that.
So you are putting together these events that bring in food trucks and like a street fair or something like that. Talk to us about what the events look like. Are they fun? How do these entrepreneurial guys, the food truck guys, how do they end up having more opportunity?
The concept of our events is to make it family friendly, approachable, easy, and fun. And so what we'll bring together a number of food trucks, generally 10 to 12 for a dinner event. We'll have face painting, we'll have balloon artists, we'll have bounce houses, we'll have live music.
So definitely for the kids.
And the focus obviously is for families with kids. That's been our main audience, and so we want to make sure that parents can come and hang out and have a good time and find something to eat. But the focus is always on the food. The food is the star. The food truck owners are the stars, and they do what they do best. And we just make sure everybody leaves well fed and happy.
And food trucks have become so popular. They're fun, and there's different kinds of food. I've seen lobster trucks. What's the most popular kind of food?
In Sacramento, in the broader Sacramento region, variations of hamburgers, bacon, comfort foods are definitely anything that's an all-American comfort food.
No health food stuff?
Health food just does not sell very well out of a food truck.
Okay. And so now you're putting together these events. There's a lot of coordination. There's a lot of people. You've got employees. What's the biggest challenges you run into in putting these things together?
The biggest challenges is in dealing with outdated regulations, in dealing with outdoor event planning concepts that are focused on large festivals and are not focused on small to medium-sized festivals like we produce, and always trying to figure out ways to have the various bureaucrats understand that what we're doing is family-friendly, it's free, it's approachable, and that we're not some fly-by-night renegades that are trying to just cause havoc. These are opportunities for this is the American dream come true. Anybody with a little bit of discipline, some savings, can start a food truck, think about a business plan, and put that on the road for a relatively small amount of money when it comes to being a business owner.
How many food trucks are here in the Sacramento region?
There's about 200 of them, but about a fourth of those are the gourmet variety.
A fourth of those, so that'd be about 50
Correct.
Gourmet, and a total of 200. How many do you think Sacramento could support? Is that enough?
In my opinion, it's not. The demand for food trucks has been very high, and for whatever reason in Sacramento, they haven't grown at the rate of the demand. I think this market could easily support another 25 to 40 food trucks of that variety, and everybody would still be doing quite well.
Are there any specific categories of food that are missing from our food truck arena?
When I compare our market to other markets like LA and San Francisco and Austin, I see a lack of ethnic diversity when it comes to the food here.
Okay.
And it surprises me because at least half our audience in Sacramento is of ethnic background.
Okay.
And particularly because most of the countries where this would be applicable, like Mexico and Asian countries, street food is a very normal part of life there. And yet here that hasn't translated into the gourmet variety of food trucks just yet.
And it sounded like women were a big part of the food truck experience. So there's more women and families. They sort of drive the meal stuff at home. How do you specifically cater to get women into your events?
I believe we just make sure that the event is family friendly. I think that's the key. And men are going to follow their women.
Yes.
Wherever they go. So that's the key, making it welcoming, making it safe. There is a ambivalence about food trucks that we have to get over. There's a very low expectation when people come to our event. So we work a lot on making sure that those expectations are exceeded. So when they come up to an event, the service experience is positive. We time everything. We work closely with the truck operators to make sure that their service experience is consistent. Our staff will reach out to the patrons and bus their tables and to do quality checks, the things that people just don't expect at an outdoor food truck event.
Yeah. So you know every food truck guy in Sacramento?
Not everyone, but most of them, yes.
Wow, what a great network of restaurateurs and people that are of entrepreneurs. And it goes through, you told me a story about your son. You have a 10-year-old son, and today's show is about fatherhood and how your son is actually looking at how the business might operate.
Well, he's obviously part of a lot of, when you're an entrepreneur, you work all the time. And so the phone rings all the time. And you don't think they're paying attention when they're sitting there playing on their gadgets and reading a book. But he clearly pays a lot of attention. And there's been multiple instances where he's given me remarks that far exceed his 10-year-old capacity, where he's doing some business analysis, or he's giving me ideas on how to better run my business, and it's really fun to see that.
Now some of these food trucks are these more generic-looking ones. They're just white trucks. They haven't taken advantage of the branding possibilities within the food truck industry. Now, didn't your son have some harsh words to say about those white vehicles?
Yes, a lot of my emphasis when I work with new truck owners is on making their marketing plans clear. If you have a clear brand, if you have a very identifiable brand, like in this city, Chando's and Drewski's and Crushburger are brands that a lot of people can identify, and that's by the hard work of those owners. They thought about their branding and they worked and executed that branding strongly. So I talk about that a lot. And one day we were driving down the freeway and my son got very upset, and I asked him what was going on, and he told me that look on the other side of the freeway and there was a white, I think it was a taco truck that was not wrapped. And I asked him, why was he upset? He's like, why doesn't he get it? Doesn't he understand the power,
Come on,
the power
man.
of a wrap? He could make so much more money. Why won't he do it?
It's so basic, right?
It is.
Gosh, from a 10-year-old future entrepreneur, great business advice. You got to have the right brand and the right image. Now, what's the future of the food truck industry look like in Sacramento? Is it growing? What do we expect it to look like in years to come?
It's been growing dramatically year to year, and I think year to year there's about a 20 to 30% growth on average for the truck operators.
Oh, wow.
It's definitely something that has a bright future. The important part to understand about food trucks is they're not a destination. They're a stepping stone. It's an incubator for future opportunities. If you're coming into the market as a food truck operator wanting to run one truck for the rest of your life, that's not a good thought out business plan. You have to think of it as either you're going to start a fleet or you're going to look towards a restaurant or a brick and mortar, other opportunities, branding, franchising. There has to be a big plan. There has to look a step further. And I say that because the lifestyle of a food truck operator is really, really rough. It's about as tough a business as it gets. You're working 7 days a week, 18 hours a day in confined space. It's 20 degrees hotter inside when it's hot outside. Yeah. It's 20 degrees colder
It's
inside.
real world entrepreneurship.
It is. And when it rains, you don't have opportunities.
Yeah.
If a parking attendant is having a bad day, he's going to chase you away from your spot. It has a lot of challenges.
And one last question as we kind of wrap up. I know you're helping create these entrepreneurial opportunities with the events, and your business model is based upon the success of your food trucks that are helping host the event. Talk to us about how when they succeed, you succeed.
I've always believed that the most powerful incentive to be successful is to base it on your performance, and how much more powerful can your performance be driven if it's not driven by the success of others. And it gives you two things. It gives you financial rewards, but it also gives you a personal reward when you see partners that you've worked with and that you started off in the beginning where you basically were both lost and trying to figure out how this all worked. And then as the years go by, you see them graduating and getting bigger and more trucks and brick and mortars. That's a really rewarding part of this industry.
Paul Somerhausen, owner, Sacto Mofo. Coming up, thanks for coming on the show today, Paul. Coming up in the show, we are going to bring back Tim Mulligan. He's going to be talking about a new venture that the Haney Biz team is undertaking. This is Entrepreneurs Unlimited on Facebook Live, broadcasting from Sports 1140 KHTK, streaming live, podcast, and YouTube at haneybiz.com.